Hi. So, what are the advantages of hypermedia integration or just integrating video into the curriculum and into everyday lessons? I think there's a ton of advantages to it, but I'd like to focus on two. The two main things that I see happening with kids when I bring video into the classroom, and especially if it's some type of tutoring a lesson where they're watching like say on Khan Academy, where Sal Khan is explaining how to do something. The most important thing that I can see from that is my students are able to watch the exact same example from the exact same person presented in the exact same way. So they don't have to worry about someone changing what the example is and maybe going too quickly or too slowly, or assuming that they understood the first step and then focusing a lot on the second or third step. They're seeing the exact same steps done in the exact same way. Also, something that I try to encourage my students if they start acting like maybe they don't want to do it is how nice it is to hear somebody explain it without getting that tone to their voice. I mean, let's face it, we all want to be the perfect teacher that never gets frustrated with our students, that never gets that snappy, bitey tone. But if we've explained the same concept 10 or 12 times, it's human nature to eventually just start sounding a little bit rude. And by using programs such as Khan Academy or other videos that you can find on YouTube or TeacherTube or whatever, students are able to watch a lesson done and they can replay it and replay it and replay it, and the tone never changes and the example never changes. And that's another good point. I don't know how other math teachers are, but I know for me, I do a lot of examples when we get to new topics, but I don't do the same example over and over. So let's say we're solving some linear equation. I'm only going to show them 3x plus 5 equals 15 one time, and then I'm going to move on to the next equation that's set up the same way but has different numbers in it. Whereas when they're watching these video lessons, they get to see the same example done over and over and over and over again. And I find that that really helps my students in particular. I teach at-risk kids, and a lot of mine are low performers and have struggled in math. And so with them being able to watch these videos over and over and see the same example, they don't have to try to scramble to write everything down at the beginning. They can sit and watch it, absorb it, and then start taking notes maybe the second or third time into it. That leads me to another example of using that program. When I show videos in class that are done with some sort of step-by-step or, someone else explaining it, I tell them pencils down. I don't want them writing anything. I just want them watching and listening. And then if it's short enough and we watch it again, I say, now you can try to work through it. I might pause it. I might ask them to recall what they watched from the previous time through to see if they retained anything from that. So, using those video lessons gives you a lot of opportunity. Also, as a teacher, you don't have to wonder, did I already say this to this class? Do I need to say it? Where am I? How many times have I said it? I teach 4 of the same class all day long, so by the end of the day, I have no idea really what I've said and what I haven't said. And typically my 5th period class either gets the best lesson ever or they get gypped a little bit. I'm always saying that my middle classes are my best because I've worked out the kinks from first hour and I'm not bored with it yet by the end of the day. So anyway, my second point as to why I believe that video is so vitally important is that when you're working with at-risk students or students with low performing abilities, a lot of times reading is a hard skill for them. They don't have the necessary reading capability that they need to pass or to be able to understand a high school level math word problem. So when you take that out of the equation and you can show them a real world problem without them having to read it and interpret some crazy graph and all of these, terms listed on the side, they have no idea what they need, what they don't need. And then to read, 50 or 60 words that explain what all the information that they have, it can be really cumbersome. And to a lot of students, they don't want to do it. Just seeing that many words can freak them out. And then if they don't understand them, or maybe they're ELL and they can't comprehend what they're saying, or, it's a foreign language to them, it just sets them up for failure. And let's face it, math is already hard for a lot of students. We don't need to be throwing English into the mix and having them struggle with that. So I find by finding real world problem examples that I can show videos of, my students love it. They get to decide what information they need. I provide them with that after they ask the question, and it sets them up as more ownership in the problem. And they're really being able to take it one step further than what the original problem would have asked for anyway, because their curiosity is piqued. One of my greatest resources is Dan Meyer. He has a blog. He's fantastic. He was a teacher for like 7 years, and now he goes around teaching teachers how to incorporate just a different mentality in the classroom and how to send it back to the student. And he has this blog, part of his blog, called 3 Acts Math, and I've really gotten into that and looked at a lot of them and adapted them for my students and whatnot. But the way he goes about approaching a problem is so fascinating, and I can honestly say that in my school I teach the lowest kids, and so I have a lot of students that are on IEPs, a lot of students that are ELL, just below basic math scores on their ISATs or whatever, and they take these problems and they watch them and they're so fascinated with them, and they're learning that it's okay to guess, it's okay to be wrong, it's okay to question things, and we're having this dialogue about math and how they would go about trying to figure this out. And it's phenomenal. So I highly recommend that if you are a math teacher, that you Google Dan Meyer. I want to say his blog is like mrmeyer.blog.com or something like that. I don't know it off the top of my head. But Dan Meyer, 3 Acts Math, subscribe to it. It's life-changing. Anyway, back to video integration. I can't stress enough how much it changes the dynamics of the classroom, being able to pause something, not having to mess with books on a desk, and taking away that boredom and the stigma that math is all about, pictures and diagrams, and when am I going to use this in the real world, and blah, 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 and all the things that students like to say and like to bog us down with. We don't have that anymore. We shouldn't have it. I mean, if someone's still using a textbook only and they're not taking advantage of everyone else doing all this legwork for them on the internet, that's ridiculous. I mean, why not get out there and see what other people are doing and see what you can bring into the classroom? Just opens up dialogue. And I love hearing my kids talk about math and question each other, and I don't know. I see that more and more when I bring in technology, but when I can bring in videos. And sometimes they're goofy, and sometimes they're juvenile, and that's fine. The kids think they're funny, and we laugh, and then we get the song stuck in our head, and that helps when they're trying to take the test. But, all in all, it's just about finding what works best in your class. But those are my 2 main points. Just to wrap it up, because I tend to ramble, is 1, they get to see the same example over and over again from the same person, and they don't have to worry about the tone of voice changing. And 2, they don't have to read the word problem to be able to do the real world problem. And that's what we all want them to do anyway, right? That's what a math teacher's ultimate goal is. Show them what they can do in math, in the real world with math. Why are they learning this stuff? And get them talking about it and get them doing it in a positive way. So anyway, that's my 2 cents, and I hope that you pick something up from it. Thanks for watching. Bye.